Human Within is kind of a new thing for VR, mixing 2D high resolution video, 360 video and virtual reality into one experience. I'm sure by now you have worked out from the trailers this is more of an interactive movie, and I went in today not expecting to review it, I just wanted to check it out for myself, but it has piqued my interest enough and I feel it's something I want to share with you today. It's currently priced at £16, which I believe is around $20, but is that money worth the price of admission? The story sees you and your sister pitching a new AI brain technology to a board of investors, but no one appears to be interested, until our bad guy of the story, known as Blake, becomes an investor and plans to use the technology for his own evil means and then sell it to the highest bidder. Out of frustration, to prove the technology works, one of the sisters uses the device and basically becomes a vegetable, and Blake, the bad guy, imprisons them both and forces them to keep working. From here, you must hack security cameras, make contact with an outsider, and get them to free you. It's not a bad story on paper, but what is it actually like to experience? And notice I say experience rather than play. Visually, Human Within has got some very nice touches, and it's clear that massive efforts have been made to bring MetaQuest users something completely different. It's also listed as coming to Steam VR, but there's currently no date set for this. The use of film to tell stories in interactive video games has been done many times, and my personal first memory of this sort of genre was a game called Night Trap on the Mega CD back in 1992. It's now considered a bit of a cult classic and was even remastered for PC and PlayStation 4, but fast forward into today, Human Within tries to add some interactive elements and scenes throughout this movie to keep you engaged throughout the full runtime, which is around 90 minutes to the credits. But in all honesty, it's not enough to make you feel actually in control of the outcome. When it comes to what you, the player, will be doing, you'll be shaking your head a few times to change some conversations and decisions which lead to different cutscenes. You'll also be connecting holocubes, which start pretty easy and then get tougher as the game progresses, but I also found these a little bit boring. There's also a few scenes where you can rewind and fast forward time in VR, and these scenes are very similar to Batman Arkham VR, leaving you to play detective and pinpoint exact moments that are needed to progress the story and find things of interest. Now, most of this makes up around 25% of the experience, and the rest of it is all about watching the story unfold. Luckily, the acting is pretty good once you get past the first scene, and that's a bit of a shame because the first scene sets the stage for the rest of the experience, but I personally found it got better as it continued. It's never cheesy, and it takes itself pretty seriously, and it does enough to keep you interested in the story. The virtual reality segments look very nice and have multiple windows for you to interact with and watch, but unfortunately the 360 parts are a little bit lackluster. The resolution is a little bit lower than I expected, and the spatial audio in one scene was completely off in comparison to what you were seeing, which creates a weird feeling in VR. As the credits rolled, I very much doubt anyone who buys it will play it again. Came away with a bit of a shrugging my shoulders feeling, and overall I think it's okay. The story never really excites you, you don't ever feel worried for the characters, and this makes the whole experience a little bit forgettable. But on the other hand, I'm kind of glad I got to experience it. Something like this would be absolutely brilliant if Meta had a rental service for interactive movies for say $5, but for the full asking price, I could only really recommend it to people desperate to experience something unique, and I hope some people do check it out because this is a genre I would personally like to see expand. VR is a great way to bring the user into a world, but when you're left as more of a bystander, there needs to be some sort of serious emotional investment and high interest, and Human Within unfortunately lacks both of these. It's clever, well thought out, and aside from the 360 parts, it's very well presented, but overall I would give Human Within a wait for a sale recommendation, unless you're really desperate to check something out that's pretty new. Thank you ever so much for watching. Please leave a like if you enjoyed the video, subscribe for more VR content, and I look forward to seeing your comments.